through all the trappings of marriage and all that kind of stuff, you never really engage the question of what it means to be married. Like nobody actually, they ask you what your dress looks like and whether you're getting catering and, you know, who's doing your flowers and things like that, but not things like...
How did you propose?
Yeah, how do you propose or whatever, but not like, well, what does that mean that you guys are getting married, you know? What will that mean to your lives?
I'm here with Doug and Wendy, and I'm asking them what it means to be married.
Always let your wife start. So what do you think?
What does it mean to be married? It's a lifetime commitment. That's what it means to one person. Yeah.
What does it mean to be married?
We're the worst people to ask that.
Yeah, we're pretty bad. I'm not sure if you're married or not. Okay, all right.
Well, we were talking about it and decided that when it works right, it's like having a job that you really love and wonder how you got a job like this.
Higher taxes in April.
Adjust your W-2.
Just your W-2. I'm very happy.
What does that mean? Happy.
Sharing.
Because there's work to it, but you enjoy working on it and doing it and getting all the little surprises and pleasures out of it.
I think it means that you don't have an out. Hence the reason I don't want to get married.
Gosh, I guess it just means to us, it means that we get to spend the rest of our lives being married or being together with my best friend.
I'm really envious, man. You've just got this great thing going, and so what it means to be married, it means envy in my heart, Steve. That's what it means.
Divorce?
I mean, all I've done
That's sometimes part of marriage, yeah.
Not a good part.
That's a smidge of that.
No, this is the reality part, right?
Right, absolutely, yeah.
I'm just
And
brainstorming. I know that's bad.
it's hard to put words around what it really means.
Probably a little too young to answer that question, but I would think it would just involve a lot of mutual respect and commitment from each party involved, and that's always something to be celebrated in this world, for sure.
Everything's alright now. I'm not getting any younger as I a Spokane hotel room right now. And before the wedding, Steve got sick. And now I have his cold.
So it's really just the beginning of our honeymoon, and I was sick before the wedding. I'm still feeling kind of sick, and Victoria's gotten sick now. And, we're arguing a lot and just kind of miscommunicating, and it's not going that great, actually.
I was thinking yesterday about what it is to get married. Like how kind of mysterious the whole process is. And it made me remember this time when Steve and I were camping. And we were camping on these beautiful dunes in Death Valley. And it was nighttime, and we'd always wear our headlamps, you know, those little lights that you wear on your head. And one night Steve took me out, and we're walking around, and he said, you know, turn off your headlamp, and we'll just go running through the dunes. And at first I was, you know, kind of panicked, because it's hard to describe being out in this vast, huge desert in the Saline Valley and Death Valley, and being in such total darkness. Like there was a moon that night, and running through these dunes with our headlamps off. You know, you just can't see anything. You never know what to expect the next step. And momentum will carry you down and then back up again. And I was thinking that's what marriage is kind of like. Like you don't, it's like you landed at this brand new landscape in the dark. And with each step, you don't quite know what to expect.
We were just coming by, we saw your business, and we're making a little movie. We just got married, and we're on our honeymoon, and we were hoping to be able to talk to you about getting married in Spokane and what that's like.
Because I look at other people's marriages, you know, and I can speculate. I can think, oh, I know why that works. Or, no, oh, I know why that one didn't work.
My first marriage, I got married when I was 18 to a woman who was 13 years older than me, and that was not one of my smartest moves.
I was 17 when I got married. It was my parents lived far away from Montana, and it was either get married or go back with them and miss my high school sweetheart, so we got married very young.
Really, it's impossible to conceive of what happens to two people sort of in their private life. You know, how they really deal with one another, and how they actually, like what problems they encounter, what lurks beneath the surface, those kind of weird dynamics that you don't expect. People are really complicated.
Like I said, first off, I was too young to marry someone like that. And then 1 month to the day after I got married, I shipped out in the military. And we were supposed to get together after I got done with my 8 weeks of training. We went to Monterey. I got shipped out to Honduras right away. And that wasn't what she was looking for in a relationship.
I'm the kind of person who's just had my life, like this is my life, and then now I've got this joint checkbook, and I've got a house, and our names are together.
Well, I'm living with my ex-wife. I was married to her twice. I was married to another woman before that for 13 years and had 3 children.
Yeah, it's not always been easy, but I think we're at a point now where it's the best it's ever been and can only get better.
It's really easy to get caught up in sort of the trappings of marriage and all the, you know, the beautiful dress and the neat cake and the fun party and all that. But, you know, we're like building this life together. And yet we have no idea what will happen to us. We'll have no idea what we'll encounter and how we'll solve it.
I guess, I don't know, advice-wise,
The best advice I can give you, honestly,
Uh-huh.
is just talk to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, things start building up, and the other person doesn't even know until there's a blow up, and that's just not the way to
Yeah.
just stay together.
Listen to each other and be considerate. Consideration is a very big thing.
Really?
Need a little free time once in a while, a little space.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of the secret, huh? It's like not, don't have to do everything together.
No. No. She's not going to want it. You're not going to want it. Just once in a while, just time out. But it's something you have to work at constantly.
Yeah.
And when it works well, it's the greatest thing in the world.
For me, it feels like stepping off into this topography that I don't know about. It's totally concealed, totally in darkness.
Try to do the best you can. It's a struggle.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire.
It's a pretty interesting town. It's really ugly because, I mean, it's just ripped apart. Look at all of that stuff. And up there where there's those big open meadows, it's not because people just didn't build in there, it's polluted soil.
I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down.
Well, I ended up in Montana because the school I was teaching at in South Dakota, they closed and turned into a minimum security prison.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I needed a job. I never expected to meet a man here because, well, first of all, I wasn't looking. But in Butte, little redneck Butte, I would find somebody who I thought was a decent human being. No. So I'd been with my kitty for about a month and was kind of tired of just having cat company. And so it was nice when school started. And we had a TGIF after the first week of activities. And so the party was supposed to be done there at school at 6 o'clock because it was on campus. And so they kidnapped the keg and took it over to Dave's house. And so I was standing in a hallway, braced against the door jamb, watching some people who were dancing in the front room for a while. And Dave came up, and he dances in front of me, and he smiles, and he walks away. I think it was later that weekend, Anaconda was having a parade for some reason. I don't know why. So I called him up and asked him, I said, I'm going over to Anaconda to a parade. The Clydesdales are there, Mom likes them. Maybe we could even drink a beer while we're over there. So he said, yeah, sure, he'd go. Found out later he doesn't like parades. So anyhow, he went with me. And then after that, he called me whenever he would go fishing. And that's how we ended up getting together.
How long were you together before you found out Dave was sick? Or before
3
Dave...
semesters.
Oh, not very long. Really?
We went to, Dave always went home for Christmas, and I had given that up when I was down in Dillon because the area that you have to go across to get back home is all blizzard country. And it's not worth taking your life in your hands. And my mom did say the first year, she says, nah, she says, you just stay put, and that way you can just come home in the summer, and we'll see you in the summer. So Dave was still going back every Christmas to Ontonagon, and so we went back. So it would have been the second Christmas that we had gone back to Ontonagon. We got back from Christmas break there. He thought maybe he had a bladder infection because when he was in Africa, he'd had a bladder infection a couple of times. So he went to the doctor thinking that's all it was. And then he was diagnosed with kidney cancer. Yeah, he really did. He had a wide range of interests, and he just absorbed everything to read. I mean, his reading interests were so different. I never even tried to buy him a book. I have no idea what in the world he read. He just read everything. And
you read all the time.
Yeah. And toward the end, I think it was either his concentration or whatever. He didn't even read toward the end either.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but yeah, he would read everything, and then when he would do that thought for the day, he should have been on that list because he would bring up all kinds of things, and he'd of course always quote the source, and he had so many varied sources that he was getting all of this stuff from. He was just amazing. I miss him.
Yeah.
Yeah, his intellect just kind of kept you going and thinking, and man.
Why did you decide to get married, or who?
I didn't realize he was really serious about getting married till he started making all of these for real plans, and I thought, well, why have you decided that you want to get married? Because we had a commitment without it. I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was taking something from him because he'd never been married.
Really? Was it Dave's decision? Or?
Well, I guess I went along with it, but Dave was the one who pretty much pursued it, and I don't know why he decided.
Really?
Did your relationship change at all after you were married?
No, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Because too often I had seen people who had got married, in fact it happened with me, got married and things changed.
Yeah.
But ours stayed the same. In fact, I gave him an anniversary card. He wasn't a card person, so I didn't even get an anniversary card from him. But at the bottom I wrote, "I love being married to you." And he says, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, because it hasn't changed at all."
So all of your relationship was completely established before. I mean, you guys have been together for what, 9 years at that point, or 10 years?
10? Yeah, about 10 years. Well, I don't know if married is the right word. It's something that I guess society created, but certainly committed. And I think that Dave and I had a better relationship being unmarried than a lot of people who were married. I mean, we had one of the best relationships I've ever seen.
What was the strength of your relationship? I mean, you guys seem so close, and so it has such a strong relationship.
I think the one that's different about everything that, with any of the other relationships that I had, was this just huge respect.
Yeah. On both sides.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think anything can replace that.
Yeah, I know Dave definitely felt that. You definitely know
He was a pretty nice guy.
Well, you gassed her behind the wheel with your arm around your sweet one, your Oldsmobile, barreling down the boulevard. You're looking for the heart of Saturday night. You got paid on Friday. Pockets are jingling and you see the lights. You get all tingling cause you're cruising with a six. And you're looking for the heart of Saturday night. And then you comb your hair, you shave your face, trying to wipe out every trace of all the other days. In a week, you know that this will be the Saturday you're reaching your peak. So it makes it kind of special down in the core. And you're dreaming of them Saturdays that came before it's found you stumbling onto the heart of Saturday night. And you're stumbling onto the heart of Saturday night. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. his job is done, he'll be over in his sophomore year. He's in love with a rock and roll wall. He's in love with getting stonewall. He's in love with Jenny Jones wall. He don't like his boy job. No! 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 Let them go! Let them go!
So we're in this great restaurant called the Backstage at Bravo, and we drove up. We thought there's nobody in here, and it looked kind of commercial, and we thought that this wasn't what we were looking for at all. We came in, and all the waiters and waitresses are performers at the local theaters, and they wait tables by day, and they perform like fun musical theater. This scallops, this kind of Asian scallops thing with bok choy and carrots. I got the right thing.
I just kissed a girl named Maria, and suddenly I found a wonderful song Maria.
Here you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There ain't nothing like a day. Nothing in the world.
Curious about you. Now, what's your name?
My name's Victoria.
And what's your husband's name?
Steve.
And where are you guys from?
We're from Seattle.
I was going to say, you don't look local. I mean, just because I think I'm very curious about people. I always watch when I'm going out. And if I see a new face, I'm kind of curious. And
So, are you married?
divorced.
Divorced. Ah. How long have you been divorced?
Since 94.
Since 94.
6 years now, yeah.
So, what's
Advice for marriage?
Well, first of all, why do you think people get married?
I got married for citizenship in Canada.
Oh.
Yeah. My wife is Canadian, Quebecoise, and I had to get married so that we could live together and I could work there.
Uh-huh.
And my wife's a very bohemian. We wouldn't have been married. We wouldn't have been less committed, but we would have just not bothered with marriage. So, and it's interesting too. There are a lot of people do live together and don't get married. I think that's less the situation here in the States. People get married more often.
Did getting married change your relationship at all?
No. Getting pregnant did.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. It was a volatile situation, but it was great. I mean, I really appreciate it. But why do people get married? It's exciting to imagine the commitment of it, of imagining you've arrived someplace, that you don't have to kind of be looking for somebody anymore.
So you think it's kind of like it's an arrival as opposed to a departure?
It's both.
It's both.
Mm-hmm. It's an arrival, but then it's arrivals are always an illusion, because you find out you can't stop. You have to keep moving. So it's on to the next trip.
I was born one morning, the sun didn't shine. I picked up my shovel and I walked to the mine. I was 16 tons of lumber, 9 coal. The straw boss said, well, bless my soul. 16 tons of what you get. Another day older and bigger than that same. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the companies.
So having a child changed your marriage?
Oh yeah, we had an unplanned pregnancy, and and I wasn't really too keen on the idea, and we didn't know each other very well when it happened. But I'll tell you, I mean, the way it worked out, I mean, I would have wanted my wife to have an abortion.
Uh-huh.
and she didn't. And boy, I'm sure glad she didn't.
How old's your child now?
My daughter's 12 now.
Your daughter's 12. So do you go back to Canada to visit her
Oh,
very
she's
often?
coming actually October 5th. I see her often.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, she was here for the summer for a month, and she doesn't speak much English. She's just learning English now, and we speak French together, and that's always fun. I can keep my French up with her. So.
Think you'll ever get married again?
Love to.
Really? Why would you love to?
Oh, because I'd like to arrive there.
I was born one morning, it was drizzling rain. Fighting and trouble always been my middle name. When I was raised in a campground by an old mountain lion, getting no heights on but maybe walk the line although the system times. But what do you get? Another day older and deeper in that St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go on my soul to the companies.
I got a CD.
Excellent.
The band was great.
What are they called?
It looks like the Bobby Darling Show. But they play all these like 1950s era nightclub songs in this really black, kind of derisive way. They're great. I think you've got to move from this car over to your head. So, time to call it a night?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go home.
Great night.
This is
Great
excellent.
night. Great adventure.
How about just finding this place?
Yeah.
So the Loring Cafe.
Brilliant.
We'll have to- oh. So where are we going next?
We're going to Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Right.
Yep. Gonna do a little a little hiking behind Nancy's condo.
I lived here in the summers when I was in college. I kind of lived here. I sort of camped out here.
Yeah.
And I would try to escape as much over to Minneapolis because, especially when you're college age, it's a lot more fun in Minneapolis than in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I remember a couple summers in Eau Claire, I delivered pianos for a summer job. And that was a lot of fun because Eau Claire's like the big town for most of northwestern Wisconsin, and so people from all over northwestern Wisconsin would come down and buy pianos in Eau Claire, so we'd have to go deliver them, way the heck up north, so I ended up driving all over the state delivering pianos. We can actually go to the store and see if they still own it. Morgan's Music.
Oh, let's do that.
That's a great idea, actually.
Okay.
They won't recognize me, of course. Go see Greg Morgan. But so Greg Morgan, his theory for delivering pianos, he said he'd like to pair up an Einstein with a gorilla. And
Were you the Einstein?
I was definitely not the gorilla.
Steve, what are we looking for right now?
We're looking for we're out in the outskirts of town here near the Oakwood Mall, but I'm looking for the animal hospital. It's the spot where my brother Eric and my friend Mike Ringhand and I used to come out and we'd get a 6-pack of beer and sit in the parking lot of the animal hospital and drink beer. I don't know why.
Was there no other place in Eau Claire to drink beer? Did you want to be close to the animals?
Well, it was cheaper than the bars. I don't really know why we'd go there. It was just like... So do you feel like going out to McKenna's soccer game?
Love to.
Okay. So...
I'd like to cheer my brains out for McKenna. That would be really fun.
I know, it would be fun.
Is it possible to take a quick shower and get cleaned up beforehand?
At Nancy's?
I was thinking we could get a motel room before we went to McKenna's game.
Maybe. We could probably do one or the other of those things. But maybe not both. We can kind of see.
Well, I mean, getting a shower and stuff would only take 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. Or, I mean, yeah, let's do that.
Please, Dad. Please, please, please.
Keep it in play. Get it out of there, Nicole. Stay after it. Stay after it. There we go. McKenna, let's go. There we go now, girls. Turn it on. Come on. There you go, McKenna.
Hey, McKenna.
Kelsey's out.
How are you? What's it like being a soccer mom and a player?
It's really depressing.
Why?
I drive a van. My kid plays soccer. I don't make casseroles.
Okay. All right, grasshoppers. Here we go. Oh, grasshoppers.
All right, good game.
Good game, girls. Goaltender. Nicole.
What year did you guys get married?
1985.
A date that will live in infamy. Well, because I wasn't able to be at your wedding.
That's right.
So what was it like? How did it go?
We did it ourselves because financial.
We had no money.
And
we had like no.
You know, Barb's mom obviously was strapped, and my parents were not in the best financial shape either. So we paid for it all ourselves, and then we ended up cleaning it up all ourselves.
I've never been that tired in my life. Never. I mean, I literally thought I was going to faint. Yeah, I was pushing a big push broom in my wedding dress.
Oh, I wish I had that.
And of course, we had to clean up all the food and all the tables, and I mean, some people stuck around to help, but most everybody just like.
At the end, everybody.
Beat us and get us out of here.
There were people sitting around watching.
Yeah.
For that.
Well, here we are, 15 years later.
Yeah,
I mean, certainly marriage is no easy road. I mean, especially when you live with someone who's selfish like myself. It's work. It's work. I think that's one reason why in our society we have such a problem with marriages that don't last, is like people don't realize going in that it's a commitment, it's work.
Do you remember when your folks told you that they're getting divorced?
Yeah, clearly. Well, my folks didn't tell me. My mother told me. It was a really strange thing. I remember she called me into the living room. It was one morning, and it was might have been early spring because it was still pretty dark, and I remember kind of sitting there in the rocking chair in the living room. Then she said, at the beginning of next week, your father's going to go away.
How old were you?
14, probably 15. Yeah, 15, I think. And I remember, the thing I remember clearest was feeling this sense of relief. Like I was really happy he was going to go away. I think there'd just been so much tension in the house that we weren't really conscious of, but was affecting us.
I think the hardest thing is to not take them for granted. I mean, I do that a lot. I have to admit it and be honest. You know, you just take for granted that they're going to do this or they're going to do that, or I mean, and I think maybe that's another thing that you just have to really work on. And I'm guilty, probably more so than most, of taking Barb for granted a lot. Just thinking, well, she's going to do this because she always does, or you know, she's this kind of person, so she'll take care of it. I mean, she basically does, like all the bills and all that kind of stuff, and I just like, I don't have a clue, you know, if it gets paid or not. I just assume that she's doing it. And before we were married, I would certainly make a lot more attempts to not take her so much for granted because she wasn't around all the time. You know, like I used to get up early in the morning and start her car up, make sure it would start.
You know, I never knew that until about 5 years after we were married. I thought I had this little white Mustang, this little beater Mustang, nasty little car that I bought for $500. Totally broke, making a living as a waitress, right? I'm like, this is a great car. It always starts, no matter how cold it gets. I never knew until we were married for about 5 or 6 years that he would get up in the middle of the night, come over to the parking lot where the car was, and start it and let it run. Yeah, never knew that.
Only on cold nights. I think we're definitely kind of opposite in personality in some ways.
Oh, like how so?
Very much so.
Oh,
I'm way more outgoing than he ever will be.
Well,
In some ways.
yeah.
He's much more willing to, whatever the situation is, he'll just say, okay, I'll just deal with it. And I'm like, okay, we got to do this better. Here's the 6 things I want you to do. That's me.
Like when I graduated from college, you gotta send out. What are you doing? You haven't sent out resumes.
You haven't sent out any resumes.
I'm like, I'll get a job.
He
Don't
sent
worry about it.
out
It'll be like fine.
one.
I'm not gonna worry about it. Not gonna get all worked up. Sure enough, got a job. But yeah, Barb is definitely more worry about things, and I'm just exactly the opposite. It's like,
Concern. The word is concern.
yeah.
So was that tension, would that be a strength or a weakness to the relationship?
Oh, I think it's a strength. When she freaks out, I can say, hey, hold on, wait a minute.
And
We've been through this before, and
yeah.
And then right, because then if she wasn't there, then I'd still be living in an apartment.
With a dirt floor.
Paying rent. Oh, yeah.
No checking account.
Right. All those little things that are as a result of Barb's organization and drive. She's got a lot of drive.
What was it like day to day with your dad around?
Well, we didn't know him that well. I mean, he's this kind of distant guy. None of us had a very good relationship with him. But the period just previous to when they split up, I do recall there was an awful lot of fights that were occurring, a lot of arguments. My dad would be kind of stony silent. My mother would be really upset.
It really is true when people talk about emotions follow actions. Because sometimes love has nothing to do with it, and you may really hate that person, but that doesn't mean you get to act that way. You don't. You did give your word, and you made a commitment, and that's where the work part comes in. And sure, you can say, when everything's all sweetness and light, that yes, we work at our marriage. No, you don't. You don't work at a marriage until you're really mad at each other, or you're hating each other, or there's something going on that's really awful. Then it's work.
Yeah, I mean, there obviously that I can remember times when Barb was like, "Oh, I just want to hit you right now." Well, yeah, I know, and that's just human. I mean, what people probably have felt that way, but then within a few hours or something, we might be laughing about something, or enjoying like a sunset, or just giving each other a hug, or whatever the case may be, or saying, look at our daughter, or look at our son, or how many people get caught up in the moment and just walk out the door, just turn their back, and then years later have all those regrets, about what I threw away. I always think about if we would divorce or something, I think about what would I lose? I mean, man, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it for those uninterrupted afternoons of being able to lay around and not do anything. It's not worth it. I'd miss someone telling me, "Hey, we got to go stay in the deck, and we got to
never have to change the sheets on the bed."
Right. Never dust ever.
Never dust.
Dust? What's that? I cleaned. You didn't dust. What? Is that dust? Yeah. Yeah. And that's all part of it. But it comes right down to it is that some things just aren't easy. But it doesn't mean you quit.
Superman. Hey, little sister, who's the one you want? Hey, little sister, shotgun. It's a nice day to start again. Come on, it's a nice day for a white wedding. It's a nice day to start again. Ow!
So Victoria likes to hang out in the bathtub and talk to the camera. I started to find this nice to... I'm here in the car, right? It's like my own private little studio. I get to set the camera up in the back seat and position myself in some way. But anyway, it's like my own little space. And Victoria's got the bathtub, I've got the car. Victoria keeps, not pressuring, but, kind of nudging me to talk in front of the camera. And I find myself at a bit of a disadvantage. I haven't looked at any of her footage, but she's so much more articulate than I am. And she has an MFA in poetry, for God's sakes. I found myself stumbling for words so much more and unable to express thoughts in this kind of moving way that she does. And I use too many words like. And so, but I think it's good. I think I should probably try and give some thoughts about marriage. She was really encouraging the two of us to try and talk really honestly to the camera. Kind of forget about that it's there, just sort of talk. And I think she's better at that than I am. Although, in some respects, I feel like she isn't as honest in the camera. Like when the camera turns on, she's very much on camera.
Cuánta le gusta, le gusta, le gusta, le gusta, le gusta, le gusta. Cuánta le gusta, le gusta, le gusta, le gusta, le gusta, le gusta. Where we go and who we see and what are we gonna do? We're going to find someone, the three of us and
I had my doubts about this project for quite a while, all through the Dakotas. It seemed like it seemed like it might have been a mistake. There was this real tension between trying to make a movie about a honeymoon, about making this documentary, and actually being on a honeymoon. I think that I was finding that the film wasn't really coming together in any way, and it was just going to be this kind of meaningless road trip, and so it wasn't that much fun for me. Victoria, I think, felt like we were erring on the other side, like we weren't having as much fun with just being on the honeymoon, and so what if the film suffers? It's much more important just to be on the honeymoon.
What is the camera pointing at me?
But we've been having this kind of negotiation going on about what's the best way to film the honeymoon and be on the honeymoon at the same time. And we haven't gotten that perfectly decided yet. But it makes me think that that's probably a big part of what marriage is this series of negotiations, kind of an endless stream of negotiations where you're trying to take these two lives, put them together, and end up where both people are happier. Negotiate a way where yeah, I'm not as good at this as Victoria.
And those are the times, of course, that sustain you, and that goes without saying. But, like tonight was such a wonderful time. It was, Steve makes me bigger than I am. He makes me more adventurous. He makes me do things that I wouldn't ordinarily do. He gives me more energy, more verve, and I don't know, he just kind of compels me into things, and I think that's why people get married.
I think that's one reason why I wanted to do the documentary is I think much more in terms of imagery and mood and atmosphere, and I'm not so verbal. And I think I can maybe express things better by trying to make a film than just sitting and talking about it. So I wonder how I look with this backlight from this. But my ears look really big.
You know, the biological clock thing, I'm 30, she's going to be 30 pretty soon. I didn't want to go out with her for 6 years, and then when she's 31, break up or something, and then, you got to think of all that stuff, and forever's huge. So you get to this point at crossroads where it's like either marriage or not.
Manitowoc. Okay, so we've got about 3 minutes before the library closes, so what do you got?
So Honeymoon.
So what's it say about Honeymoon?
Well, it dates back to about 1546. I think it was originally coined by Johnson. The first month after marriage, when there is nothing but tenderness and pleasure.
That's us, huh?
Uh-huh.
See, I'm getting married in May.
Is that right?
Yes.
It didn't originally have any connection to the month part. It was moon.
You mean moon wasn't moon for month?
No, it was moon for moon is like a poetic metaphor. At first your love is full as the moon and honey and sweet.
I see.
And then it begins to wane like the moon.
Yeah.
And it dates back to 1546.
Why'd you decide to get married?
Well, that's a good question.
People are starting to...
Library's closing.
Okay, thank you. We should go.
We gotta go. Are you hungry? I'm hungry too.
Am I bugging you?
Not at all.
You tell me about it. Tell me about it on camera. What am I doing right now? Starts with a W.
You're whining a little bit because we've been in the car for 3.5 hours, which really isn't that much when you're on a road trip. And now we have to get something to eat, which is good. I'm hungry too. So we'll go get a nice glass of wine and just quiet your whiny self down. It's funny being back here in the Midwest, where I grew up. I can feel my when I speak the accent coming back. Like I feel my voice getting flatter and flatter. Like I talk about my mom and my sister Barb, and it's completely unconscious. I don't think I talk quite that. I don't have that strong of an accent when I'm in Seattle. It's not affected or anything. It's just when I'm coming back here, I feel it oozing in. So, did you notice it?
Oh, totally. I realize now that I've married a man from the Midwest.
I'm proud of it. So what do you think of the wedding going on outside?
Well, you want to know really?
Yeah.
So really, I feel a little envious because part of me sort of secretly wanted that, Martha Stewart wedding where you get the bouquets made for you and they're beautiful and your dress costs, $1,000 and, you get cloth napkins and it's catered and that's a different person's wedding. That's not my wedding. That's
Why didn't you have that?
Part of it's because I'm not 21. I'm not a blushing bride getting married. It's not really me. I have, a very unique personality. Whenever I looked at things to choose things, I went for the cartoon cake instead of the cake with the flower petals. I went for the, kind of bright pink dress as opposed to the white dress that didn't look very good on me. I'm a grown-up now. The cookie-cutter marriage doesn't really actually fit me. But when I look at it, there's something very appealing. I think it's some kind of like, I think I'm lamenting, I always lament that kind of regular trajectory I didn't go on, that kind of ordinary life, sort of less bumpy life that I could have lived. Where you folks, you fall in love at 22 and your parents pay for the wedding and you get the big poofy beautiful wedding gown and it's catered and, you get a bad wedding band and, the groomsmen all get drunk and throw up in the bathroom and,
We could have done that.
there's a certain charm to that. But every time it came down to the actualities of planning our wedding, none of that fit my personality. It all seemed very, incongruous to who I am and who you are. It just wasn't who we were. And here they come.
Why am I carrying your flowers? I'm still confused.
They look great with you, yeah.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Why did you decide to get married?
Why?
Because she's my best friend and I couldn't find anyone better, I guess. I don't know. She's
No, I mean,
I'm kidding.
I think of him as like my lifelong partner, and I mean the commitment is there. So it was just the final step and kind of tying things together, I guess.
Make it complete. Correct.
All my friends are married, every Tom and Dick and Harry. You must be strong if you're to go it alone. Here's to the bachelors and the Bowery balls, those who feel that they're the ones that are better off without a wife. Sound like I sleep into the crack of noon, midnight howling at the moon, going out when I want to, and I'm coming home when I please. Don't have to ask permission, I wanna go out fishing, never have to ask for the keys. I never been no Valentino, but I had a girl who lived in Reno. Left me for a trumpet player, but it didn't get me down. He was wanted for assault. No, it said it weren't his fault. You know the coppers roared him right out of town.
Hello, Michigan.
What about it?
Beautiful Michigan sky.
There we are, Michigan.
Oh, it's just beautiful out here. We're standing on the shores of Lake Michigan, and last night we were getting that kind of Phoenix feeling where it seemed like the honeymoon was over and we were still on it. We were kind of sick of motel rooms, sick of eating out, sick of sort of podunky little towns with nothing to do, and came out here today and it's just gorgeous. So last night we were talking about feeling like the honeymoon was over and we were still on it. Do you still feel that way today?
I wouldn't phrase it quite like that. I don't feel like the honeymoon's over. We're still on the honeymoon. I feel like the road trip was over and we're like, maybe we should just sell the car and fly back. Like there isn't as much point to the road trip right now. Yeah, it's inevitable with road trips. You get halfway and like that's the halfway point when you suddenly decide that what are we doing on this road trip? But I don't know, today it's perked me up. Here comes the sunshine, and this place is beautiful. So, what the heck? Let's see what the day has to offer us, and maybe we'll kind of breathe new energy, new life into our road trip.
Excellent.
I think the thing about it is that road trips can be so confining. I mean, you're stuck in a car, or you're stuck on a ferry, or you're stuck in a motel room. You'd think it would be so expansive and you'd have all of this sort of freedom, but in fact, there's always the next town to get to, or the motel to check out of by 11 o'clock, or, dinner to get before the restaurants close, or changing time, time zones, or interviewing people for this project. And so in a funny way, it's been kind of confining.
Steve is having such a good time. He loves to play. He loves to play outside. Hey, sweetie. What are you doing?
Wow. That's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
Maybe we should go further up in the state park.
Yeah?
To see what that's like.
That'd be great.
You know what I'm feeling like?
What are you feeling like?
Let's forget about the motel. It's not hot tonight.
Okay. Think it's going to be warm enough?
I think we could go over the dunes over there where there's trees and things nearby. There'll be tons of firewood. We can make a big fire.
Okay.
Stay warm.
Excellent.
Okay, let's go. Did you make it?
Sure. Me. Camping outdoorsy girl.
It's a big hill. Must be about 20 feet.
More like 200. I feel so just out of energy today.
Yeah.
I really love to muster some energy, and when I do, I get a little burst, and then it's just all depleted, and my arms and legs feel all heavy, and I just want to sit down.
I think that's physical or perhaps more psychological.
I think it's physical.
I mean, it certainly has a physical component. Well, I guess what I'm wondering is, I'm feeling the same way. I'm wondering if part of it is just, we're at the end of our road trip.
But some days I'm just like this. Even if I'm just starting out, there are days when I just feel so energetic and I could just keep moving. Like yesterday, I did pretty well running, even though I'm really out of shape and had a lot of energy. Today I just feel like I'm not quite pumping enough blood to my brain, and my arms and legs are kind of heavy. And
I think maybe it was that big fat steak you ate last night.
I didn't have a big fat steak. I had a little tiny piece of chicken. I don't know, I just wake up some days, and I think everybody does. It just feels kind of sluggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sluggy.
Sluggy. Let's go lie down by the beach.
It's cold by the beach.
Let's go get some food or something.
You're so whiny.
I'm not. I'm making little suggestions. I'm throwing little things out. It's been a beautiful trip in a lot of ways. It's been hard. It's been harder, I think, than kind of a standard honeymoon, doing a project like this, and taking a road trip, which is a lot of work, unpacking the stuff, going from motel to motel, not knowing where you were going to go, what you're going to do, or what you were going to eat. It's not like cabana boys on the beach handing you margaritas every hour.
So you're feeling like maybe you don't want to camp tonight?
I'd love to camp tonight if we didn't have to get up at 6:30 in the morning, and if we had food and stuff. If we were setting up camp and hanging around. But setting up camp for a night to get up really early in the morning to tear down camp, to get on the ferry, seems like why not just enjoy the day and then go back to a motel and take a shower and stuff?
be able to roll out of bed early in the morning. It seems like sounder thinking to me.
The West would never have been settled with soft people like you.
Well, the West has motels because of soft people like me.
Here's Victoria.
Were you saying bad things about me?
Yeah.
Talking about what a whiner I am.
I hadn't actually, but now that you mention it.
You're so mean.
Did you find any Spanish tapes?
Of course not.
Really? Not at Walmart? The Spanish tape king?
Shut up. You're kind of mean today.
I am not.
Yeah, huh? Steve.
Yeah.
Am I messing up all your fun?
Why would you ask me that?
Because I thinking I want to just go back to a motel room and hunker down for a while and shave my legs and sleep and I don't know.
Well,
take a little time by myself.
See, now, we just started the day at about noon, and it's only about 4.
Well, it wasn't going to be the end of the day.
I just feel like we do so little during the daylight. But, you know, hey, if you want to take a nap, go right ahead. You go ahead and do that. Although, let me drop you off.
Well, I mean, I don't want to make you upset.
You know, I'm not upset.
Really?
It completely infuriates me when you take naps. No. If you want to take a nap, go right ahead. Just think, you know, we're in this beautiful place, and we've only been sort of, you know, awake for 4 hours. And the sun's going to go down in not that long. But, you know, I'll go hang out. I want to hang out with you. I really want to hang out with you.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to go back soon. Let's have a little bit of fun in the last little leg of our honeymoon here. It's funny, you know, you take this vacation and we've been waiting so long to have a period of time off from work and just to enjoy each other, and I feel a little frustrated that we spend so much time you know, in the motel until like 11 o'clock, and then we either drive or maybe do a little something. Mostly we drive, and then we're, you know, spending the evenings lying in motels watching TV. Kind of sad, actually. Has it been a good honeymoon? Sure. It's been kind of a weird honeymoon, actually. Maybe it's a little bit like marriage. You know. Had some laughs, been some strange times. This is like the worst possible interview. Maybe get Victoria on this, and maybe this will perk up a little bit. Let's come over here. I'm trying to interview myself, but I'm just saying the stupidest things.
Maybe sounds better on camera after you get it said.
Yeah, maybe.
So I think you were right. I think I need to just do what I want to do right now. I think I need to go back to the motel, hang out by myself, have a couple hours by myself. Let you be disappointed if you feel disappointed or whatever. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I think you're a little too worried about that. Although, see, I'm a little disappointed now because now I've got to leave to take you back.
I made a mistake.
And so, you want to stay in that motel down there?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay. All right. You heard it. She made a mistake. You're so cute. So yeah, if you want to take a nap, you gotta take a nap.
Yeah, I don't even want to take a nap. What I really want is, I want 2 hours by myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe this is what marriage is. If you look this way, if you look one way, it's all stormy. But if you look the other way, it's a nice blue sky. But somehow where you are, you're right in the middle. keep wanting to take pictures of the scene because it's just so beautiful. It's gorgeous down here. I hope Victoria's having fun by herself, or kind of having that time alone. Disappointed we can't sort of share this together. It's just a beautiful place to be. So we're driving at night. We decided to try and just head back and spend a lot of time driving, just try and get back as fast as possible. It's funny how road trips always end up the same. You get to about the halfway point and suddenly the purpose of your road trip seems to vanish. And all you want to do is just get back home. So here we are, and we're just about to cross into North Dakota. And it's probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. We're going to try and drive all night and change off. We'll see how it goes. So we just crossed the border into northern Montana when Victoria was struck with a migraine headache. You know, a lot of people say they get migraine headaches, but a real migraine headache is a tremendous amount of pain. Victoria just sat in the front seat holding her head, moaning, and then at one point the pain was so intense she actually began to vomit. I drove as fast as I could to try to find a hospital, but there's just so few people living in that part of northern Montana. We ended up driving over 100 miles before we finally found one. And it was here that we got the news.
Victoria came to see us here at the Northern Montana Hospital emergency room tonight. She was suffering from a headache, but she told us she had a positive pregnancy test, home pregnancy test, so we went ahead and verified that with a blood test here at the hospital. And as you can see, it is positive. So she is pregnant, about 4 weeks along, and we're happy for that. Hopefully she'll get over her headache and be able to enjoy the rest of her trip.
Hubby, what does it mean to be married?
Never giving up.
Come on.
The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow. Here's away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. And I'm stuck in a day that's gray and lonely. I stick out my chin and grin and say the sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come with me. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're always a day away.
So this honeymoon was more like a project than it was just relaxation. And I think ultimately we'll probably be project people mostly. The wedding was a lot of work. And then we undertook a pretty arduous honeymoon. I don't know, but it's pretty gratifying too. I kind of feel like I need a vacation before I go back to work.